the way, Tom E. Tuesday. Tom E. Curran, NBC Sports Boston, joins us here on Jones and Keefe. He's brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive. Tom E. Curran, how are we doing this week?
Tremendous. How are you boys?
Very good. We're doing great. We were checking out your latest at NBC Sports Boston, breaking down the Week 2 win. Patriots gained some traction on the road from bad to mediocre with their win over the Dolphins. You seem to be making the case, I don't want to put words in your mouth, this isn't the kind of game they would have won a year ago. Is that fair to say?
There's no real proof that they would have been able to withstand the litany of mistakes that they made. And yes, Miami was complicit by playing some of their own bad football. But I think that Vrabel did a good job of pointing out in his opening press conference, we have to be able to take advantage of bad football, and I'm not sure we're there yet. They did take advantage of bad football. So that's a step, a mere step. Everything is fleeting. Everything is temporary. But they took a step this week.
What did you think the biggest difference for Drake Maye specifically was between Week 1 and Week 2?
Probably down in distance and getting him out moving a little bit, Rich. I think he feels comfortable when he's moving in the pocket, not flushed from the pocket. But I think the down and distance is the biggest dictator of how comfortable he is, how he feels in 3rd and 7 as opposed to, or 2nd and 10 as opposed to 2nd and 2 or 3rd and 3. And I think that was a big difference for him too. But I also think that it does go to the opponent. And I think that Oakland was Vegas was much less predictable. Excuse me. Yeah, much less predictable than Miami was. So he knew where the issues would be. But probably down in distance is the first place I would start. So that would relate to the running game.
Let's get this week's Drake take from Tom E. Curran, presented by your New England Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive. Tom, we've been talking all day, and Keefe and I think you're in this group as well, are pretty pro letting Drake run, letting him be himself, let him be athletic as a modern NFL quarterback. And yet, we've seen quarterbacks drop like flies in the last 24 to 48 hours. Jaden Daniels, your guy, J.J. McCarthy, on that list as well. So how do the Patriots balance those two, and do you feel any different based on some of the injuries we've seen at that position in the last day or so?
I don't feel very different. I do think that Drake Maye should be in the neighborhood of a 400 to 500-yard quarterback by the end of the year on the ground, which would mean he's got some work to do because I don't think he's got a ton in the first 2 weeks. But to me, you need to take advantage of his mobility, and he needs to be cognizant of, all right, I have an opportunity here. They're playing. And that's an interesting thing that Phil Perry was pointing out. The amount of man that Miami was not willing to play because they were afraid of Drake running. So they played zones so they could keep eyes in the backfield. That made it easier for him to get some easy throws too. But I am a proponent of using his feet. He's bigger than Jaden Daniels. I think he's probably more solidly built than Joe Burrow. JJ's a little fella. They're all going to get hurt at some point. But I do understand the sentiment behind keep them out of harm's way. So, yeah, I think I'm talking myself into don't run him too much. Let it just I wouldn't call a lot of runs for him. I think the way that he has approached it in the first 2 weeks, that's a good summation. The way he has approached it in the first 2 weeks has been perfect.
You know, the offense was obviously very good and improved in Week 2. The defense, though, still leaves a bit to be desired. I think some of that is the lack of Christian Gonzalez, which we can get into, but they miss a lot of tackles. And one guy who I thought wouldn't miss tackles and I thought was actually going to be maybe a strength of the defense would be Robert Spillane. And through 2 weeks, I don't know how you feel about it, Tom, but I've been less than impressed.
I'm with you. He is a guy who's usually in triple-digit tackles. He's supposed to be a sideline-to-sideline cleaner-upper, and we haven't seen that yet. I was very disappointed to see the hip check that he delivered to a tight end, I believe it was, instead of just wrapping and bringing him down. I wonder, and I'm going to, instead of drawing a permanent conclusion, he's got a litany of missed tackles. He did not look good in the A-chain coverage. But I'll chalk some of it up, maybe, should we, Rich, to the early season. You haven't hit enough.
Yeah.
You haven't tackled to the ground enough. You didn't do it in training camp. But they can't afford to have missed tackles at that linebacker level. They have few enough linebackers as there is, even on the roster. The ones they have need to execute, especially if they're well paid.
We're talking to Tommy Curran. He joins us on a Tommy Tuesday, every Tuesday here on Jones and Keefe. We'll circle back to quarterbacks for a moment. We put you on the spot last week. We said Drake Maye, J.J. McCarthy. This is one we can revisit week after week after week. Any concerns about your guy, J.J., A, now that he's hurt, and B, didn't look so hot last week?
Yeah, if you're a Vikings fan, you're going to look at that and say, boy, is he going to get hurt every season for us? That's a troubling situation. He didn't look good the other night. But, it's the second NFL start. So you can't ride the roller coaster too much. Let's gather data week 12 on JJ. See where he is after a month or so off. Gets a few more games back. We'll gather more data, and then we'll have a good sit down. We'll have a confab. We'll talk about it over coffee. But he's had one good quarter, so that's nothing to shoot off the confetti cannons off. But although you should, because it was an important quarter.
It was a big quarter. I mean, they won the game. He's gone up against.
He only made like 3 throws in that quarter, though.
That's it.
Big throws, though.
That's all you need.
Big throws, yeah.
Christian Gonzalez, we haven't seen him play this season. We haven't seen him practice in going on 7 weeks now. We'll find out more tomorrow, obviously. By this time, we'll know a lot more. But where are you at now, and have you heard anything new on Christian Gonzalez?
Haven't heard anything new. It's going to be one of the world's worst hamstring pulls of all time. 7 weeks is insane. Guys come back from high ankle sprains quicker than that. So to me, if he's exacerbated it and didn't share the information in any way, even intimate it, then I've always felt this way about injuries, and I think a lot of former players do. It doesn't make the player look great if it takes this long. So he left with a small pull, it looked like. He walked off the field with no assistance. And there was a tweet from, I believe it was Jordan Schultz, who said he'll be ready for the opener. And now it's heading into week 3, and if he doesn't practice Wednesday and Thursday, then you'd figure week 4. So that, to me, it's perplexing how long it's taken. And secondly, do you bring him back now, or do you hold him for Buffalo? If it's this bad, do you just wait for this, non-conference game against Carolina in 2 weeks and this week's game against Pittsburgh and say it's more important to have him full go for Buffalo in a divisional game?
Should the team have just put him on IR?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. 4 weeks. You're sitting there with a roster spot that's been consumed by somebody who's only been on an exercise bike for most of it.
It's very strange that if there was a setback, Mike Giardi was on these airwaves, your colleague was on these airwaves on Friday and said there was a setback right around Minnesota. They started to hear something different. So, yeah, I feel like the team is telling you they thought at worst he'd be back by Carolina, and now we're hearing things about setbacks. You're saying maybe hold him out for Buffalo. So, yeah, the whole thing is just it's hard to fill in the gaps on. We're trying to fill in the gaps because the team hasn't given us much.
Right. Nor has Gonzalez. So I think we go through this occasionally in virtually every sport, but this is he was an all-pro,
right?
Second team all-pro last year, which means he was one of the, 8 best corners in the NFL, 4 best.
Yeah, 4 best. He's one of the top 4 corners.
So we ranked him one of the top 4 corners in the NFL as all-pro voters. So to me, it makes a big difference. And Vrabel, again, him alluding to doing what's best for yourself and your brand and meeting the team halfway because the team wants to do what's best for you, but you also have to sacrifice for the team. That answer that he gave in training camp when he was asked about Gonzalez expectations still seemed like a non sequitur to me. And now it just calls into question, well, why was he talking about that then?
Yeah, no, that's what I think has really kind of kept this story afloat, as it's like if it's something other than just an injury or a setback. Because I think it's an injury and a setback, but maybe it's not if Vrabel's offering that up. Another major story for this team has been the health of Terrell Williams. And everybody wishes the best for Terrell Williams, but he wasn't with the team this past Sunday. He had to miss some time during camp. I guess first, were you surprised at all that Vrabel didn't step in and call plays over the weekend, and how do you see this playing out going forward?
I wasn't surprised because I think there is so much on a head coach's plate throughout the game, and he has to be the guy who probably as we bat around who made the decision to go ahead and throw the ball coming out of the 2-minute warning and throw incomplete and give Miami so much more time on the clock. That feels like that would be a Vrabel decision. If he's over coordinating the defense, play calling, and everything else, he's too immersed in that to be able to sufficiently oversee everything. So I was not surprised that he didn't play call at all. I don't know if there was really – I mean, they certainly didn't play well defensively, but as Vrabel said on your airwaves talking to Greg Hill, they weren't trying to give up plays on the outside, but they were willing to so that they could bottle up the middle of the field, which they probably did about a C job of.
We saw the images last night on the Monday Night Football broadcast. I'm sure you've seen them by now. They've gotten a lot of backlash of Tom Brady with the headset in the offensive, or not even offensive, just the coach's box for the Raiders last night. Your thoughts on that, which seemed odd right in the middle of the Monday night broadcast?
Yeah, it does seem weird, and I think Mike Florio did a good job articulating it in the long post. Tom is one of Mike's chew toys, but he makes a good point. It's a conflict of interest that if you are that piped in with your team and that involved with your team, if you happen to sit in on a Kansas City meeting or you spend time with Andy Reid or somebody else, there will be information gleaned that you may feel it's incumbent upon you to pass on to your team. So, and if you don't, like, say he has a Raiders game. I don't know if they're on Fox at all and whether Brady has them. I'm guessing he doesn't, but because of the obvious conflict. But it's just, it's too tangled. And as Florio has often said, pick a lane. You should pick a lane.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't know why. And I mean, Fox signed him to that huge deal, and they're obviously working together. The story just came out. He's prohibited from going to a team facility for practices or production meetings, but he is allowed to sit in the coach's booth per the league. So the league came out and said that he can do that. I don't know how many opportunities he's going to really have to do that, but yeah, the whole thing is very strange. And now he's also going to be playing flag football in Saudi Arabia in another year. Did you see that announcement?
Yeah, long overdue. Yeah, long overdue.
finally. Get
just
him
another
out there.
Another championship that he can raise up.
Good
No,
for him.
I think Keefe and I watched it too last night. The other oddity beyond just the conflict of interest and the league's allowing him to do it, and I don't feel that the league should. I don't know how much Patriots fans care about that. I imagine Patriots fans do care. Just watching him in the middle of a broadcast as part of the Raiders, like,
strange.
Patriots fans, I at least would like to see him as a part of the organization here. Do you know if that conversation was ever broached between he and Kraft, or Kraft to him, the same way it wound up happening with the Raiders?
I don't know if it was ever broached. I mean, I think Kraft does, just by his personality, oftentimes will suggest things. You know, maybe we want to have you be part of the family, or you're always part of the family. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm probably speaking out of turn there. So I don't know if he would have ever offered that. I mean, you have to offer ownership. That would be what Brady would have desired. Do the Krafts want to give up a portion of their ownership to have Brady be part of the family? Brady likes to own things. He likes to have things. He likes to be in the mix. So how in the mix would he have been? Or does he look at this organization and say, look, I know how that organization is run. I know what the pecking order is, and I don't want to do that. So I think the fans, I think by and large, at least myself, and I think most fans by now, you're used to it. You've seen it. You watched him in the Al Davis sweatsuit coming down the hallway. You've seen him now in the booth. You understand that he's a Raiders owner and that entails two-timing this franchise. So you're probably over it by now, or at least if not over it, accustomed to seeing it.
And then a quick, I know it's early in the week, but a look ahead to Sunday's game against the Steelers. It looks like another very winnable game. I know the Steelers are slight favorites, even though the game is in Foxborough. But Aaron Rodgers at 41 years old, we saw it last year. He's fine, right? Like, he can still make some plays, but he doesn't scare you like he once did.
Yeah, but we said that last year after Patriots had begun the season with a win over Cincinnati, and then they looked pretty good for the most part against Seattle, but got shredded by Geno. And then Rodgers just tore them a brand new one on Thursday night. It was humiliating. And he could still do that to them this week unless they get the pass rush that wonderfully has been generated. Finally, it's so tiring to watch quarterbacks sit there with both heels planted and survey downfield. So if they can get after him, they should be able to make him a 41-year-old. If they don't, he'll play like he's just on the driving range. So that's going to be the key to this game, I think. And with the Patriots, too, there's no way that you can count on what happened in Miami happening again. And that was kind of the point of the column that I'm making. To go from bad to mediocre, you still have to stop past bad but not as bad as other teams, and then frisky. And then you get to mediocre.
Oh, now you're speaking our language.
Yeah, that's one of the tiers.
Yeah, that's right.
It's right there in the column.
Okay.
Right up
Right
our
now
alley.
they are. Right now they're better than bad teams. Maybe.
Sounds frisky.
Maybe.
That is.
Yeah,
That's good.
don't,
maybe.
Don't tell us how to do our tiers here,
Right.
but okay, that's good to know. All right, well, Tommy Curran every Tuesday. You can check him out tonight on NBC Sports Boston. You got the Patriots Talk podcast, right? You and Phil. You got Quick Slants later on this week. You're on WEEI afternoons later on this week. So a busy man. Thanks for taking the time here on a Tommy Tuesday, Tom. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right, Tommy Curran joining us here on WEEI, as he does each and every Tuesday, today at noon Central, high noon Central, 1 o'clock. We'll get to your feedback, 617-779-7937. Interesting that the Buffalo game might be the game to circle for Christian Gonzalez, who, by the way, Keefe, was on Good Morning Football earlier today. Yeah. Does that tell us anything about
right now?
Do you guys want his hamstring answer?
Yeah.
Oh, if we have it, do you want to grab back or do you want to do it here? Let's hit it here. Yeah.
Let's do it now.
You're also an important part of this Patriots defense. And listen, I know it's been a challenging start for you, especially to the season. You're dealing with a hamstring injury that you suffered during training camp. Your head coach now says that there's a chance that you could play this weekend. Can you let us in under the hood a little bit? How's the wheel feeling? How can you be most impactful and helpful? How's your body?
It's leg, right?
Yeah. I mean, we just going day by day. We're taking a step at a time. Just being in the building, sitting in the meetings, doing what I can. So it's been fun it's been stressful, but it's all for a reason. So going day at a time.
What's the reason?
Yeah, how's the wheel, though?
What's the reason?
Yeah, I mean,
is it all for a reason? Because I'm not a contract conspiracy person, but like that answer kind of makes it sound like it. It's all for a reason. The reason to make it look like the corners are so bad on this team, they got to pay me more money.
Well,
what's the reason? It's been fun.
Good theory.
And he's like, stressful. Those are opposites.
He also goes to the same exact talking points that Vrabel went to, which is, I'm engaged in the video room and meeting rooms and things like this. Yeah.
So what I read the most into is not even the answer, though, is that the Patriots allowed him to do that.
I agree. I couldn't. And if he was going to do that.
It was for one of the NFL initiatives. They started off like 3 straight questions about that.
Well, there you go. So maybe it's.
But, okay. All right.
I'm still surprised he's available to do a national interview, getting asked about his wheel.
Yeah, how's the wheel? Let's get under the hood there. Grab the wheel.
All right, so you're coming over to the contract side a little bit?
No, I'm not
a little bit
yet. No, but I'm just saying, if I were, I could read into that. This is all for a reason?
That's like me with Cora. If they miss the playoffs, Cora should be out of a job. If we're going to come to that side.
Carrying a lot of weight in that
all right, well, we're gonna find out tomorrow if he's out there and available.
You sure will.
My read is still no on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I agree. I haven't been able to make heads or tails of this
Bizarre.
for a long, long time.